Welcome to the deep dive. We've looked at the material you sent over, and our goal here is pretty simple. Pull out the key insights so you can get informed, quickly but properly.
Right. We know you're the kind of listener who wants to really connect the dots, get those aha moments, but without drowning in, well, too much information.
Exactly. And today, the source is a YouTube video, The Untold Truth About Money, How to Build Wealth from Nothing, by James Jenney.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to really hone in on his main argument, specifically this equation he proposes for building wealth.
Yeah, the video starts strong, doesn't it? With that visual, these expanding circles. $1 million, then 10 million.
Right, all the way up to a billion. It's quite the image.
Especially when you contrast it with, the everyday reality for lots of people. The job, maybe student debt still hanging around.
Oh, yeah. And just feeling like living costs are sky high and your paycheck isn't really keeping up, that feeling of being a bit underpaid, maybe.
Definitely. That visual really hits home how, for many, that kind of wealth feels like a distant dream.
And the video taps into that frustration, that little voice that wonders if the whole system is, maybe a bit rigged against the average person.
Which sets up the big question the video asks. Is there actually a formula, a kind of science, behind how money really works, beyond just earning a wage?
Let's dig into it, this untold truth.
Okay, so where does it start? It seems to challenge our basic ideas about money first.
Exactly. It asks you to think about your own beliefs. What is money to you? Something you just earn, something inherited.
Or maybe that old idea, the root of all evil. Or just something you're constantly chasing.
Yeah, and the video argues these beliefs often come from, well, your upbringing, your environment.
Makes sense. And it mentions the lack of formal financial education in schools, which is a big one.
It really is. Plus, it brings up how Hollywood often paints the wealthy, as the bad guys.
Yeah, the greedy villain trope. Does the video suggest we kind of buy into that?
It definitely asks if that stereotype has influenced how you see wealth, but then it throws out a really interesting statistic from WealthX.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
That 68%, so well over half of the world's ultra-wealthy people with $30 million or more, are actually self-made.
Wow, 68%. That really challenges the born rich narrative.
It does. And the video names names. Warren Buffett, Howard Schultz, Starbucks guy, Oprah, Bezos, Musk, Sarah Blakely from Spanx.
Right. These are household names, and mostly not from inherited money.
Precisely. So it sets the stage that maybe wealth isn't just luck or birthright. The video then says the way most people think about money, their equation is fundamentally flawed.
Okay, so what's the wrong equation according to the video?
It's simple, almost too simple. Money, salary earned from a job, a two-dimensional equation, he calls it.
That sounds familiar. Get a job, get paid. That's the standard path, right?
It is, but the video immediately pokes a hole in it by bringing up time.
Time, our most valuable resource.
Exactly. The most precious, the most finite, you can't get it back. Money, theoretically, you can always make more. Time, nope.
That's a really crucial distinction.
And to illustrate the limit of the salary equation, the video uses an example, say earning $20 an hour, 40 hours a week.
Okay, standard enough.
Well, do the math. To reach just $1 million that way, it would take almost 24 years.
24 years, and that's assuming.
Right.
No taxes, no expenses.
Exactly. It doesn't factor in taxes, food, rent, car payments, inflation eating away at it every single year.
So realistically, much, much longer. Or maybe never.
Right. The video's point is pretty stark. Follow that path, and maybe you become a millionaire when you're old, having traded decades of your life for it.
Okay, so if that's the flawed approach, what's the correct equation the video proposes?
This is the core idea. Stop chasing money directly. Instead, focus on the market's perception of your value.
Okay, unpack that.
The argument is you get paid in proportion to the value the market, meaning consumers, other people perceives you're offering.
So it's not just about working hard.
Not just hard work, no.
Yeah.
The video uses pro football players as an example. Huge salaries, right?
Yeah, people always debate those.
But the market for football is massive. Millions watch, buy merchandise, etc. The players are valuable to that market because of the demand.
Okay, market demand drives value.
Then it contrasts, say, a cleaner with an accountant. Both might work hard. Physically, maybe the cleaner works harder.
Right, but the pay scales are usually very different.
And the video says that's because the accountant has specialized skills, perceived as higher value, and perhaps harder to replace than the cleaner in the eyes of the market. It's about perceived value and replaceability.
Got it. So value is key. How does that connect to the correct equation.
It leads directly to it. The video boils it down. If you want money, solve problems.
Solve problems. Simple phrase, big implications.
Huge. Money flows towards solutions. Every successful product, every service you use, it's solving some kind of problem or meeting some kind of need for people.
And the bigger the problem.
The bigger the potential reward. Solve a $1 million problem, meaning a problem affecting lots of people significantly, where the solution is highly valued, you could make millions. Solve a $1 billion problem.
You get the idea. Like Amazon.
In fact, the example used, Amazon solved massive problems. Shopping inconvenience, limited selection, price comparison hassles. They did it at enormous scale.
And Jeff Bezos' wealth reflects the scale of the problem solved.
Okay. Now, you listening might think, okay, great, but I can't just invent the next Amazon.
Yeah, that feels a bit daunting. Does the video address that?
It does. It stresses starting small. You don't need a world-changing idea immediately. Instead, listen, what are people complaining about around you?
What do they wish existed? What frustrates them day to day?
Precisely. What's inconvenient? Find those friction points.
But it can't just be any minor annoyance, right?
No, it has to be a problem that's worth solving. Enough people need to care about it, enough to potentially pay for a solution.
Find a real pain point for a decent-sized group.
Yeah.
Then what?
Then you need a scalable solution. This is critical.
Scalable, meaning it can grow easily.
Yes. The video contrasts a local restaurant, great, but limited by seats, location, staff hours, with something like a franchise model.
Which can scale up across many locations.
Right. Or even better, software. Write it once, distribute it digitally to millions, potentially. Very low cost per additional user. That's inherent scalability.
Makes sense. And it warns against businesses that are really just jobs in disguise.
Yeah, like the yoga teacher example. If you're just trading hours for dollars, even if self-employed, you're still bound by time. Your income potential is capped by the hours you can physically work.
Versus, say, creating an online yoga course.
Exactly. That course can sell to thousands, earning money while you sleep. It scales beyond your direct time input. The solution needs to reach a lot of people.
And to manage that scale, you need systems.
Absolutely. Automation, efficient processes, they're vital. You can't do everything yourself as you grow.
Which leads to outsourcing or hiring.
Right. When it makes financial sense, bring in help. Leverage others' expertise. Don't get stuck doing tasks you could delegate. The focus has to stay on getting the solution to the market.
And the video warns about ego, right? Don't just build something you love if the market doesn't actually want it or value it.
Crucial point. It has to solve their problem, not just satisfy your passion, if the goal is financial success through business.
Okay, so you build this thing, it solves a problem, it scales, it's profitable. What happens then? What's the end game?
Two main paths outlined. Keep running the business or sell it in acquisition.
Like the examples given, Instagram getting bought by Facebook.
Yep, for $1 billion. Or PayPal being bought by eBay, which famously made Elon Musk a lot of money early on. Selling can mean a big lump sum payout.
But not everyone sells.
No, some founders love running their company, or they believe it has way more growth potential, or maybe it generates great passive income.
So different motivations there. But ultimately, the video brings it back to the why, doesn't it? Why pursue this path?
Yeah, it argues it's usually not about just hoarding cash. It's about freedom.
Freedom from what? Freedom to do what?
Freedom from debt, like paying off the mortgage. Freedom to buy things you need or want, like a reliable car or travel. Freedom from constantly worrying about bills.
The freedom to just make choices without money being the main constraint.
That's the core of it. And
Yeah.
this loops back to that most precious resource again.
Time.
Time. The video really makes you question the trade-off. Giving years of your life to a job you might not even enjoy, just stuck in that cycle of work, commute, consume, repeat.
It acknowledges that for some, that's the reality, maybe the only option right now.
It does. But for those seeking financial freedom, the advice is consistent. Stop chasing the money itself. Chase problems and scalable solutions.
It's not an easy path, the video admits that.
Definitely not. It's presented as a meaningful struggle, though, one that holds the potential for real liberty from financial stress.
Does it recommend other resources? Since it's a simplified view.
Yeah, it mentions it simplifies things and suggests looking into authors like M.J. DeMarco for deeper dives into these concepts.
And doesn't sugarcoat the difficulty, does it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
It explicitly says most people who try this won't succeed, which underlines the need for resilience, learning fast from failures. Failing fast is key.
But there's a takeaway, even if you're not starting a business.
Yes. Applying that problem-solving lens to your current job or field. How can you add more value? Solve problems within your company or for its customers. That can increase your own market value, potentially leading to higher income, even in a traditional role.
Interesting. So it's a mindset shift as much as anything.
Very much so.
Okay, so let's wrap this deep dive up. The core takeaway from the James Jana video seems to be what?
Wealth, according to this perspective, isn't built by chasing dollars directly. It's a byproduct
A byproduct of identifying significant problems
that affect a large enough market.
and then creating valuable, scalable solutions for those problems. Focus on the value you create.
That's the essence. Make yourself valuable by solving problems people care about.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on, building on the video's message. What's a problem you run into regularly? Or something you constantly hear friends or family complain about?
Could that frustration, that inconvenience, actually be an opportunity? Not for chasing a salary, but for creating a solution and maybe, just maybe, finding your own path towards greater freedom. Something to think about.